Welcome to a holiday edition of Something Special, the 17th annual edition of Christmas in Central New York, presented in cooperation with the Syracuse Area Interreligious Council, featuring Monsignor Robert F. Lavin of St. Francis Xavier Church in Marcellus and Pastor Nelson Gates of the Lutheran Church of the Atonement. Something Special brought to you by KeyBank. Barrett Jones, President and Chief Executive Officer, brings you special greetings.
The message we at KeyBank have shared all year long on Something Special has been serving and sharing. On this holiday edition, we add a thank you. Each program has been a tribute to you Central New Yorkers who have worked so hard to improve the quality of life for all of us. This next hour, Christmas in Central New York, is a greeting from all of us at KeyBank.
Saying, welcome to Christmas in Central New York. It's appropriate that we start at Columbus Circle because actually the program was born here some 17 years ago during a time of darkness, an energy crisis, when outdoor lighting was forbidden. But the true spirit was here because Columbus Circle itself was turned into a giant Advent wreath. The program was a pioneer, the first in the country that was truly ecumenical, hosted by both a Roman Catholic priest and a Protestant minister. Monsignor Robert F. Lavin represented the diocese on that first program, as he has on every program since. 5 times he's been joined by Pastor Nelson Gates of the Atonement Lutheran Church. At last year's location, a music barn in West Amboy, they did a bit of reminiscing.
We've spent the night in some pretty interesting places. In the chapel at the French Fort, it is popularly called that, St. Marie de Genentaha, probably the place where in Central New York the first Christmas was celebrated.
That tape's going to be a collector's item since the old French Fort has been torn down to make room for a new St. Marie.
And I can remember one time turning the clock back to a revolutionary Christmas at Fort Stanwix. And then we even shared a sleigh ride at Erie Canal Village in Rome.
2 years ago, the Algati family graciously welcomed us into their own home.
And they gave a great gift to the whole community. You see, it's a house with a Christmas tree in every room.
This year we meet Monsignor Lavin and Pastor Gates at Community General Hospital, an appropriate place because it is here that we celebrate a miracle of Christmas.
It is a miracle. It was almost a year ago that Monsignor Lavin collapsed while saying Mass at St. Francis Xavier Church. Since then, Community General Hospital has been his home.
Yeah.
And it was here at Community General Hospital that I learned that angels don't wear wings and halos. They come for the most part disguised as doctors and nurses, therapists, and a whole staff of other people.
I hope you could feel the support of thousands of people's prayers, people of all different faiths.
When I came here, I don't remember a thing. I was here for 4 or 5 months before I began to realize people were around me. All of a sudden, it changed just like that. And I came up around, turning toward God. It was truly a miracle.
I want you to know, Bob, that last July, only half kidding, I suggested that if you weren't well enough to participate in this year's Christmas show, we would just have to postpone Christmas. I'm awfully glad that you're well enough that we can be right on schedule for December 25th this year.
So am I. We've been feeling the spirit here for weeks.
You know, there's a terrific view of the city from up here. You can see all the dazzling Christmas lights so well.
A big change in the whole spirit of Christmas, isn't there? Now you just look out and you see the lights.
Gene Doherty reports that downtown Syracuse is more dazzling with the Christmas lights than ever.
The season of officially kicked off on December 4th with the tree lighting in Clinton Square. The night was crisp and cold, but spirits were warm. It's true that downtown has never looked more dazzling. And there's a brand new area, Franklin Square. If you haven't been there, you owe it to yourself to make the trip and to realize that an area that once housed abandoned factories is coming back to life and is proving it by saying Happy Holiday in twinkling lights. The Clinton Exchange, as always, is beautiful and the perfect place to share a story that's just right for this season. This is Renee Stearns, accompanist for the Bernie Schmidt Singers with Paul Ray. Paul lives at Toomey Abbott Towers. When the singers visited there, he told them he was a songwriter and played them a song he'd written for his favorite girl next door, a neighbor. There's a happy ending to the story because right now you are going to hear Paul's song for the very first time, A Christmas Kind of World. We shared a double gift. Paul Ray wrote that song as a gift for a friend. The Bernie Schmidt Singers performed it as a gift for Paul. We received another gift at the Cathedral of the Immaculate Conception. The circle was sparkling, and there were voices inside to match. The voices of the world-famous American Boy Choir.
And now, Key Focus, a holiday link between the Key Bank family and the Central New York community. Key Bank's Spirit of Christmas program was developed in 1986. Its goal, to encourage Key Bank's 1,500 employees in 17 counties to become involved in some kind of community service project during the holidays. Dick Little, Key Bank's Senior Vice President, tells us about the Festival of Trees.
One of the things that the bank does itself is that we purchase a tree at the Everson Museum Festival of Trees. We have the tree decorated, and then we repurchase it, and we use that tree for decoration in our lobby.
In just 3 years, the Festival of Trees has become an important part of the holiday scene, drawing thousands of people downtown to the Everson Museum. It's a gift of beauty to the community, and the money raised is used to help the Everson Museum. The Key Bank family is involved because they believe that a strong community needs the arts. So for them, the tree is one symbol of the spirit of Christmas. And how is that program working?
It's really worked, pulling our employees together. The Spirit of Christmas at Key Bank has been a wonderful program, and we just think it's great that at this time of year, our employees are willing to give so much of themselves.
How lucky we are to have shared the voices of that boys' choir. Those youngsters have a very special talent.
But you know, Nelson, I feel at Christmas time, we all have a special talent. We're all like the little drummer boy, waiting to play our best for the Lord.
I think that's why anyone who's ever participated in a Christmas pageant has a memory that they hold with them all their lives.
We're going to watch some young people play at St. Peter's Church, storing up memories.
In those days, Caesar Augustus published a decree ordering a census of the whole world. The first census took place while Quirinius was governor of Syria. Everyone went to register, each to his own town. And so, Joseph went from the town of Nazareth in Galilee to Judea, to David's town of Bethlehem, because he was of the house and lineage of David, to register with Mary, his espoused wife, who was with child. While they were there, the days of her confinement were completed. She gave birth to her firstborn son, and wrapped him in swaddling clothes, and laid him in a manger, because there was no room for them in the place where travelers lodged. There were shepherds in the locality, living in the fields and keeping night watch by turn over their flocks. The angel of the Lord appeared to them as the glory of the Lord shone around them. And they were very much afraid. The angel said to them, "You have nothing to fear. I come to proclaim good news to you, tidings of great joy to be shared by the whole people. This day in David's city, a Savior has been born to you, the Messiah and Lord. And let this be a sign to you. In a manger you will find an infant wrapped in swaddling clothes." Suddenly there was with the angel a multitude of the heavenly host, praising God and saying, "Glory to God in high heaven, peace on earth to those on whom his favor rests." This is the gospel of the Lord.
It's said that St. Francis of Assisi created the very first recreation of the Christmas story, so that we could all be part of this most important event in history.
I'd almost forgotten that one of my earliest experiences of the Christmas story was participating in a Christmas pageant in 7th grade. I had the opportunity to have the reading of the Christmas story as one of the choir boys. I think that set the stage for my entire life. I know that it has helped to broaden my appreciation for music as well as for the beauty of the Christmas story. I'm also delighted that my own family has an experience of music in this Christmas season. My daughter is a member of the select choir at West Genesee Senior High School.
I happen to know that they share both music and sunshine. You should be proud, Nelson.
I am. It almost makes me want to sing along.
I felt that way on every program that we've shared.
We've shared quite a few of them. I remember so vividly as we gathered at the Canal Museum to reflect on the various ethnic traditions that people have brought here to Central New York. One in particular that I remember when Lorraine Small presented to us the Polish tradition out of her background.
Christmas is always exciting for a young child, but for me, growing up in a Polish-Ukrainian household, Christmas Eve, the Vigilia supper, was always the most exciting. The family would gather around the table and we would exchange the opłatek, which is the host, and wish everyone the blessings of the holy season. The table was always beautifully decorated, and underneath the tablecloth was a layer of hay signifying the manger. We would start with a wonderful mushroom soup made out of dried mushrooms and laced with heavy cream. I can taste it almost right now. Then we would have stuffed cabbage that was rolled in buckwheat, and little pierogi, which are dough pockets that were filled with potatoes or sauerkraut or prunes or cheese. Then we would have śledzia, which is herring in cream, grochs kapustem, a wonderful mix of sauerkraut and dried peas, and a big, wonderful babka, a sweet bread with currants and raisins, and then we would finish the meal with a compote of dried fresh fruit and dried food. Then we would sing kolendy, the Polish Christmas carols, until it was time to go to the pasterka, which was the Christmas midnight mass. Won't you share my Polish traditions with me tonight on this Christmas Eve? I would like to share the opłatek with you and wish you happiness, health, and love for Christmas and for the new year.
Childhood memories, a most important part of Christmas. For Jim Robb of Park Central Presbyterian Church, those memories lead back to Scotland in times that were difficult but beautiful.
Well, New Year's is a big blowout. I mean, it's when you open your house to everybody. Christmas was a quieter time, and you spent the time with the family. Most of the family in Scotland lives very close to each other. We all lived in the tenements, and probably 90% of my family lived within a quarter of a mile. So you were always in and out of each other's houses. And in New Year's, the big tradition is to, you stay in your own house until midnight. And then usually one of the young kids in the family, preferably a dark-haired kid, would take off and head for the oldest person in the family's house, generally a grandparent, and he would be carrying a piece of coal and a coin, usually a threepence or something like that, which would be worth about a nickel. You wanted to be the first one to get to your grandparents' house. You rapped on the door, and when they opened the door, you threw the coin in, and you threw the coal in, and you wished them a Happy New Year. The idea behind that was that with coal, they would always have coal to heat the house. And with the money, they would always have enough money to buy the food. And when you got in there, shortly after that, the whole family showed up. It was a great party. And you did some strange things, like you would take the windows down from the top, lift the windows up from the bottom, and you were letting the old year out and letting the new year in, and you would invite everybody in that passed by. Of course, Scottish people are well known for having a few beers and so on, but it was more of a time to put out all the food that everybody had cooked, that everybody had brought with them, and you stayed up all night and you listened to people tell stories about when they were younger and stuff like that. There wasn't a lot of traditions as far as Christmas is concerned. There was you know, people were pretty poor where I came from. It was a pretty poor neighborhood. But mostly it was a family time. And you never felt that you were poor because everybody you knew was the same way. And everybody had their family around them. So you always felt like you were the richest person in the world because you had aunts and uncles and cousins and grandparents. And it was just a wonderful time. You were in and out of everybody's house. Your neighbors were in and out of everybody's house. And New Year was a big, big celebration, much bigger than Christmas.
So they said about people like that, they didn't have the material things, but that they had all the things that really mattered.
Mm-hmm.
Is that how you felt?
Yeah, and when I think about it today, I'm sure there must have been times when it was absolutely miserable, but I can't think of any. You only think about the great things that happened. The time when I got hurt and my uncle picked me up and put me on a tram car and took me to the hospital, carried me the whole way, and coming back and thinking, oh, that was really terrific that I got special treatment that day. And, you know, you think about the times when your dad, when I was little, my dad used to take me to the theater. Every Wednesday we would go to the theater, and he and I was just our special thing. We didn't do it with anybody else, just the two of us, ever since I was a little tiny kid. And those are the things you think about growing up in Scotland. I think about the fact that we didn't have any electricity or any heat in the flat. We had one room, but I don't notice that now. All I remember was it was nice and warm because of the fireplace, that we had plenty of coal for the fireplace, and that the house always seemed to be warm. We didn't have but one room, but it seemed like it was more than enough for us.
Filled with love?
Yeah, I think that was the biggest thing. And I think that's what I miss today, because I've still got so much family over there, is the fact that we argued all the time. We shouted at each other all the time, but we always did it because we loved each other, and there was never any animosity involved. We're like that today. My father and I are like that today. Almost 50 years later, we still, every time we talk, we shout at each other, and we love each other to death.
Jim's wife, Trina, spent her childhood in Central New York, but it's obvious that her life, too, had that most important ingredient, love. And some of her holiday memories are very tangible.
On my tree, my ornaments are special in that they all mean a little bit of something. The angel at the top came from Germany, and Tante Annie, a relative of ours, gave that to us when Lori was born because she felt that it would look like Lori. And our daughter Lori is blonde. It's a really pretty angel. There are also ornaments on the tree that were made by a patient of mine at the dialysis unit here at St. Joe's when I was working there. And they're all wooden painted, and she did them all herself. There's a real dreidel there, too. She made that specially for some of us because we wanted to have a dreidel for a Christmas tree.
A lot of love on that tree.
Yes, there are a lot of little angels, and the angels are for our 16-year-old daughter, Lori. It was started by a friend of ours who gave her the first little angel for her first birthday. And so from then on, we've added a lot of angels to the tree.
The nativity sets are important to you.
Yes, I have a nativity set that it must be plaster of Paris and in the stable. And that was my grandmother's. My grandmother held one. And that's just special to have it here.
And there's another one that's most unusual.
Yes, I have one from the Philippines. I got that. It's all handmade and wooden. And I got that at a United Presbyterian Women's Conference at Purdue in 1979. So that's real special to me, too. Christmas Eve is my favorite time. It's my favorite time of year, especially when the snow is falling, and it's real Christmas snow with the big flakes.
Lucky Dr. Lori will be sharing traditions of two countries, and I'm sure adding some of her own. The spirit of the holidays. On Christmas in Central New York, we found that spirit in many places.
I really felt part of the Christmas spirit when we were hosted by the Monkman family in West Amboy last year.
The quartet is called the Spirit of Song. We call them the Spirit of Christmas.
Glory to God in
magic of Christmas. We found it in a barn in West Amboy and in an old farmhouse in Pennellville. Carol Burdick isn't called Mrs. Santa, but she should be. She works on her decorations all year long. The tradition is more than a decade old. This year is important because she's sharing it for the first time with a grandchild, Timothy, son of her daughter, Terry Hodem. Timothy will be joined by other children who call this a fairy princess palace. A tour of the house shows why. Carol Burdick, decorating her home takes thousands and thousands of hours. We ask why she spent that kind of time.
I enjoy it. I think Christmas is fabulous. It makes you feel good. And it feels good to give gifts to people and see happy faces. And I enjoy Christmas. I always have.
Carol Burdick has always loved Christmas. Aren't we lucky that she shares that love with us?
And now, Key Focus, a holiday link between the Key Bank family and the Central New York community. The spirit of Christmas was alive and well at the Onondaga Hill Key Bank. Convenience branch manager Peggy Tuff explained how her group got together for a special reason.
Yeah, we got together over the weekend, and we had a lot of fun doing it. We got there early, and everybody brought a different type of cookie, and we baked them there. Yeah, we had fun. We had, a little party, so along with making the cookies.
Van Dyne will surely appreciate the fruits of their labors. Tina Stiles, Key Bank service supervisor at the downtown drive-thru, geared her efforts toward the Salvation Army and its Tree of Lights program, and was very pleased with the results.
We received 4 boxes of gifts for this program this year.
The ultimate reward, satisfaction in knowing she played a part in making someone else's Christmas a little bit brighter.
I don't really know what goes into presenting the gifts to the different people, but I do know that they do receive them. And knowing that somebody's Christmas was going to be made by this made me happy.
I've been thinking that this holiday is very different from any that we've ever had because of the events in Europe.
A new feeling of freedom. That makes this an appropriate occasion to talk about Hanukkah.
Hanukkah is a festival of freedom. I remember Jean Doherty telling us that the holiday was an important part of her childhood in Barnesboro, Pennsylvania.
Over the years, my childhood memories have been reinforced on Jewish Journal by Selma Radin and her grandchildren, Jason and Danielle.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kirishanu b'mitzvosav v'tzivanu lahadlik ner shel Hanukkah. Blessed art thou, Lord our God, King of the universe, who has sanctified us with his commandments and commanded us to kindle the Hanukkah light. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, shahi nisim lavotenu bayamim hachem bazman hazeh. Blessed art thou, Lord our God, King of the universe, who has performed miracles for our forefathers in those days at this time. Okay.
Watching Selma, I was taken back to a little town in Pennsylvania called Barnesboro, to a time when I wasn't much bigger than Jason, when my forever friend Cheryl Charlson and her family invited the Dohertys to share Hanukkah. And this is the story that they told to us.
More than 2,000 years ago, in the land we now call Israel, a wicked king, Antiochus, had captured the country. He was very cruel, and so were his soldiers. The people were told that all of their freedom would be taken away. Most important of all, they would not be allowed to keep the Sabbath or to go to their temple. Many of the Jews fled to the hills or went to prison rather than obey the laws. As we said, the soldiers were cruel and their army was large. But one day a very brave man named Mattathias started a revolt. He hadn't many men, they hadn't many weapons, but they were strong. It was the son of Mattathias, Judah the Maccabee, and his 4 brothers who led the army. It took them 3 years, but they finally drove the enemy from their country and were able to go back to their temple again. There is a Hanukkah legend that says the first thing the chief priest did was rekindle the light in the temple. He could use only sacred oil, and there was enough oil for only a single day. He sent men for more, but it took them 8 days to return. The lamp should have gone out in 1 day, but wondrously it burned for 8. So Hanukkah, the Feast of Lights, lasts 8 days. And as the lights burn, they remind us of those brave men long ago. This was the first time in all history that men had dared to fight for freedom and had been able to win. And it is said that the Maccabees in spirit struggled with the American colonists and with men everywhere who fight to be free.
Hanukkah, a festival of freedom, a festival of lights. Selma Radin told us that it was meant to be shared. And she's saying to it, too, that her grandchildren, Jason and Danielle, are collecting wonderful, wonderful memories. And now we share another special memory at the Salt City Center for the Performing Arts. This was once Temple Edith Yeshurun. The first production in the theater was Fiddler on the Roof, with Joe Latito as Tevye. He recreates the role for us in the Sabbath prayer.
May the Lord protect and defend you. May he always shield you from shame. May you come to be in Israel a shining name. May you be like Ruth and like Esther. May you be deserving of praise. Strengthen them, O Lord, and keep them from the stranger's ways. May God bless you and grant you long lives. May God make you good mothers, and may he send you husbands who will care for you. May the Lord protect and defend you. May the Lord preserve you from pain. Favor them, O Lord, with happiness and peace. Oh, hear our Shabbos prayer.
An appropriate song in a building that was once a temple and is now a center for the arts, or more importantly, a center for families. That's the opinion of Executive Director Joe Latito, who brings special greetings.
I feel very strongly about what's happening in Europe, the opening of the borders, the knocking down of the wall, of hope for peace throughout the world. And peace within families, peace within communities, peace within ourselves, expressions of love from each other. to create a world of peace, a peaceful world. That would be my wish.
And the shalom.
And shalom. Shalom alaikum.
Television is a wonderful gift. We're able to revisit favorite places, in effect, turn back the clock.
That's just exactly what happens. You know, at the Onondaga Historical Museum, the magic toy shop has come back to life.
TV5 is giving people a wonderful gift. They're giving them back their childhood.
It's a place of wonderful memories, and some bittersweet memories, too. The four Alderman sisters, Martha, Laura, Paula, Lisa, were an important part of the toy shop, especially at Christmas time. We all were lucky enough to share their childhood. That's why it was a personal loss when Paula and her husband Glenn Buckley, the young man she'd married in England, were killed on Flight 103. This season, of course, is the first anniversary of the crash. For all the families, it's a difficult time. The Aldermans cope by reaching out.
For Marian Alderman, Paula's mother, the reaching out meant opening her home to foreign exchange students, 2 young men, one from West Germany, one from Spain. She wants to share with them the present and the past. That's why she took them to the Magic Toy Shop exhibit and explained the part the program had played in her daughters' lives and why the Aldermans and the toy shop were a Christmas combination. Christmas was very much on the mind of Christian Tanz of West Germany. Tell me this is your first Christmas away from the family.
Yes.
How does it feel for you?
It's now it's still new, but I think on Christmas Eve I will be homesick, I guess, because it's all new, but some things remember me at home, and I will think a lot of my family and of our traditions and about all.
Christian shared pictures of his town and his church and explained the Christmas Eve tradition when children light a candle from the Christ candle and carry it home to light their own trees. Now, what happens if your candle goes out on the way home?
Oh, that's no problem. There are the church is overcrowded, and if you go out and the candle goes out too, you only go to the next people with a candle, and you can light it at them. It's a sort of communication.
Christian introduced us to his family.
On the left-hand side, that's my mother. Then right next to her, that's me. In front of me, there's my little sister Susanne. Then my father, and on the right-hand side, my sister Mareike.
Now it's time for you to say a Merry Christmas to us. To all these people in Central New York who only know you from right here. What do you want to say? What's your wish for everybody in the world?
Peace, lots of health, and that people begin to think
about each other?
Yes, about each other and about this wonderful America, and about their great nation.
Now, how about a Merry Christmas from you?
Yes, I wish them a Merry Christmas and a wonderful New Year.
Now, in your language.
Fröhliche Weihnachten und ein gutes neues Jahr.
We'll get a different greeting from Francisco Pumaro because he's from Spain, from the city that we call Seville. It's natural that at this time his thoughts have turned to home. We talked to him about Christmas past. What was your favorite Christmas present?
My computer, my first computer.
How old were you?
13 years old.
Did you know you were going to get it?
No, I didn't. I didn't know, but
you wanted it.
I wanted. My father, he always say that I needed. He wasn't going to to buy a computer because it was not good for me. But he bought it before, and he was trying to make me upset, no, but he gave me the computer.
Do you know that Christian's father did this very same thing? Do you think fathers are the same, whatever country they come from?
Yeah, they're the same. Mm-hmm.
Now, one tradition at your house is that your father will speak on Christmas Eve.
Mm-hmm.
What will he be saying, do you think, Francisco?
This year, I think that he will say, he will speak about me, and he will say that this year is different there, no, because I think it's the first time that we are not, all my family is not in the table. He will say that they have to remember me, you know. He will remember about me to all my family.
And you will be thinking about them?
Yeah, sure.
Francisco comes from a large and loving family. He's one of the youngest. And you know that their thoughts will be in Central New York. His will be in Spain. But he'll still find time to wish all of us a happy holiday.
Feliz Navidad y próspero año nuevo.
And the same to you.
A young man from Germany, another from Spain. They'll soon be joined by a third from Lockerbie. The story of one family coping with tragedy by reaching out. We have truly found the spirit of the season.
And now, Key Focus, a holiday link between the Key Bank family and the Central New York community. The spirit of Christmas continues through the warmth and generosity of Margaret Jewell. Margaret works in the MasterCard department of Key Bank in the West Genesee Street branch. For the past 9 years, she has made nativity sets to be raffled off for various nonprofit agencies. But this one was special. She made it from scratch.
First of all, you get a slip. You have your mills. You pour your slip into them. And when they get a certain thickness, you pour them back out and let them dry. Take them out of the mills, clean them, fire them. Now there is 5 firings to this set. Then I do the underglazes on them and fire them again. Each step that I do, I have to have a firing in between them.
The Nativity truly is a work of art. Here's Margaret's recipe.
I use a blue Copenhagen on this particular one. Then I use a luster, and it is 14 karat gold that is put on the final.
The proceeds for this raffle will go to the Vera House.
In the time of Christmas, there is a giving. And I believe unfortunate people need some help. And we are in a position where we can help other people.
The spirit of Christmas, another example of Key Bank's philosophy of serving and sharing.
And now one final thing, our messages.
I find in this particular Christmas season that there are just so many things to be thankful for. I know I'm terribly thankful that Father Lavin is able to be with us this year for our celebration. Thankful for the beauty of our own community. Thankful for the wonder of music in my life and in my family's life. Very thankful for the marvelous events half a world away that brings freedom unimagined to people in the Eastern Bloc countries. But most of all, I hope that in this Christmas season, we will not forget to be thankful for the true reason for the celebration. The joy of Christmas in this babe born in Bethlehem, God's gift to us. May this season find God's gift raising in your heart great things that will well up not only for joy in this season, but in all of your life, in the days and years ahead. Bob, it's your turn.
You know, as we celebrate the great feast of Christmas, certain thoughts go through our mind. Thoughts of joy, thoughts of sorrow. Thoughts of joy that Christ would present himself to us, reveal himself. Sorrow that he was rejected by so many people, so many things in his time. We find in our lives that same double standard. The release of joy because Christ is a part of us, and also the sorrow that comes to us, sorrow that is in the hearts of all people. Let us, on this Christmas day, wish to everyone around us the greatness of his Spirit and try to live his life as a part of our own. So we wish all of you a very blessed Christmas.
And may 1990 and the new decade bring us all many blessings.
And now here again is Barrett Jones, President and Chief Executive Officer of KeyBank.
It's Christmas and Hanukkah in Central New York, and in just 1 week we will welcome a new year and a new decade. May 1990 and the years ahead be a time of hope and peace for all of you. That's a sincere wish from all of us at KeyBank.